Hey makers, welcome to another YouTube video with me. Oh my gosh. So as you can see, that's a big pile of scrap that I just bunched up and rolled out. Now I want to show you how I make a granite effect with my clay. All it is using a fine black glitter. Now I'm showing you a few steps here of what you can do. I'm just going to add more. Okay, it's never enough. More is more. I'm a bit of a maximalist, I'm not going to lie. Maximalist chaos, maximalist color, all of the stuff. So add your fine black glitter, pop it through the clay machine, work it through until you're happy with the result. I'm now happy with the result. So I'm going to roll out my slab. I am going to do it to around about 3 mils using my depth guides. There you go. Medium depth guides, 3 mils. Yes. All the colours that you can see up the top of the screen there are just colours that I was just mucking around with, really. So, you know, if I'm just sitting there, I actually cleaned out my scrap drawer and I was just like, oh, I'll put this together, you know, and just made a bunch of colours that were inspiring me. And then I set them at the top of my tile so that I can kind of just, you know, decide what I want to use. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to pick a few of the colours. So I went with the really vibrant peachy colour, which is just Mandarin and Igloo, both by Souffle. This gorgeous pink, and then the chartreuse green again, and the cad red and Fiji. Actually, the green is, what is the green? Is it wasabi or is it souffle? Citron. It's souffle citron. Anyway, these are the colors we're going to go with. Now we're going to make a really cool kind of puff paint pen, puffy paint, puffed effect using my good old fish filter and tiny bits of clay. So this idea was inspired by my friend Sarah from Winterbloom, who created a similar type of technique in her earrings a while back, and I was like, oh, that looks like fun. Let's give it a go. I'm not sure if my technique is the same as hers. She's got a much finer, like, little texture on hers, and then, I mean, of course, it's amazing. So I'm going to tag her below so you can check out her Instagram because she makes amazing things. But yes, it was definitely inspired by her work. I always like to shout out creatives if I am inspired by what they create. And so should you, you know, it's just good practice, good creative ethics is what I like to call it. Just give the maker a shout out and be like, hey, this is where I got that cool idea. So we're just going through and I'm using each color. What I normally do is I will like line them up and then just go through each one so that I make sure that I get each color and kind of evenly distribute it. This is time consuming. I'm not going to lie. This is like ×5 speed right now. Like we are powering through. If I was to do this in real time, we would all be falling asleep. You know, we'll be falling asleep. Now let's get close. Look at that. The key is when you are popping it onto the slab is not to really push down too hard. You don't need to push down very hard onto the slab because clay sticks. Banjo. I'm trying to do a voiceover. If it's not kids, it's cats, guys. That's my cat, just in case you were wondering. So say hello to Banjo in the comments, please. I decided to do just like a real fun abstract pattern with curves and splotches and like O shapes. I don't know. And here's what she looks like. Yes. Yes. And I think that it reminds me of like the 1980s or 1990s like puffy paint pens. Does anybody remember those? Like, please let me know in the comments if you remember them. Now, I also feel like it needs a bit of contrast. And you know how I feel about adding a pop, adding something to give it some, what do you want to call it? What are we going to call it? Oh, my brain, honestly. You know, just a vibe. Give it a vibe. No, that's not it. Make it stand out. Give it guys, help me in the comments. Help me in the comments with what I'm trying. I'm just adding contrast. I just want to add a pop. I want to add some definition, some excitement, some party to the puff party. I don't know. Oh, what am I saying? Okay, stop the voiceover right now. Okay, here we go. This is the finished product. I'm obsessed. What are we doing now? Okay. Oh, doing the old pat. Oh, there we go. A little extra fish filter vibes on there, just a little extra fish filter. We're going to cut it out. Now, I am, for these videos, making very small slabs. If I was to make this to sell for my website, I would be making it triple, if not quadruple the size. So for the purpose of these videos, I do not want to waste any clay. And so I'm making small amounts that I will just pop up on my website for sale or give to my Patreons in the Maker's Narrative, whatever, you know. But yeah, these are just mini micro slabs. And if you are just starting out and just wanting to have a bit of fun, don't try and make a giant slab. There's absolutely no reason. Just go with, you know, size matters, okay? Size matters. Don't go too big. Don't go too small. Just nice medium in between. Works well. Okay, that's all you need. Now, we're just rolling out a little bit of that granite and just going to make some complementary pieces. But with this, now, this is the fun that I did have because I decided to add in a little bit of acrylic into this as well. And I am not going to lie to you, I've been wearing the earrings for the last couple of days, so there's obviously a couple of pairs I'm not going to sell. This is a Phoenix and Spruce cutter. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. And you are going to see here, I was going to keep the center part in it because I thought that looks kind of fun. It looks like a frame, whatever. But I don't. I decide to actually remove it altogether. And then I actually manipulate the shape to a totally different shape. So it no longer stays in that sort of oval organic shape. You'll see in a second it's going to like switch over because I forgot to record it, of course. Story of my life. I'm going to lay these out and then relay them out and then relay them out again. But we are also going to do sanding with this video as well, which is kind of exciting. I'm going to show you my Dremel and what I sand with and how I finish. So you can look forward to that. Okay, look, honestly, I don't even know what you're doing. You're fake cutting it. Oh, there we go. See? So I did the same shape with the black. And see how I've just manipulated it into like a triangle shape? How cool is that? I also decided I liked those toppers up the other way, not the way that you would normally do them. Okay, so I'm not going to lie to you. I'm in my dressing gown and I've just pulled these out of the oven and I was like, I'm going to finish them and then I'm going to record it at the same time. So you can see here that I cure onto a tile and I always get that little shiny finish at the back. So I'm going to show you how I get rid of that immediately. And I'm also going to show you how I get hooker nails every single time I do one of these videos. Every single time, because I'm not wearing gloves and I probably should be wearing gloves. So there is a lot of controversy surrounding using acetone. Acetone is a solvent, and yes, it is, you know, you've just got to be careful. It is very flammable. It is very toxic. I have accidentally drank it before. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. I picked up the wrong container. Anyway, acetone has a little bit of controversy behind it because people think that it's kind of a lazy product to use. But I'm telling you right now, it is just working smarter, not harder. It is very simple. It evaporates very quickly. If you have sensitive skin or anything like that, just wear nitrile gloves or gloves that protect you from getting it on your hands. I just find that it dries my skin out a little bit. It is actually no different to what they use in nail salons when you get acrylics or SNS on your nails. Acetone is what they use to soak off nails. So that being said, it doesn't make it any safer just because you use it as a nail polish remover. Be careful. Make sure that you either have gloves on or you're in a well-ventilated area. And don't leave it around for your kids to touch or your animals to get to. Don't leave the lid off. Just be very careful. I'm usually trying really hard not to let it touch my skin, but you'll see that I like to moisturize afterwards. So just put a little bit onto a cotton pad and very gently wipe over the glossy bits on the back of your components and it will instantly come off. So it just saves you doing a lot of sanding. It's very fast and it's very easy to do. Being a solvent, what it does is it actually takes a layer of the polymer clay off. So you do have to, oh, here we go. She's getting the Vaso out. Got the Vaso. Love to have a little Vaseline lather up after I do my acetone. Yeah, so what I'm just saying is be careful, be safe. If you don't feel comfortable using it, you can also sand your pieces. Here we go, there's my Dremel. Or you can use Isocol. It's just going to take you a lot longer and it's a lot more elbow grease into that. Those are the little buffing tips that I use. I actually particularly don't like those buffing tips because They're not the greatest quality. They're just from Amazon. And the ones that I do like are actually just from another supplier. So these do the trick, but they're not the best. They don't last as long as some other ones do. And I do find that the fibers flick off. So it's a little bit annoying. But with polymer clay, it's perfect because it buffs as it actually takes off any clay. So it just means that it doesn't leave any scratch marks. It's not harsh to use on your components. It's a fantastic buffing tip to use. Now, when you do get down to the fiddly bits where you're doing really intricate shapes, like the hoops that are coming up and you've got to get into these little curves, any of the little curves that you can't get into, you can use a small amount of acetone on a cotton pad, and you can just sort of go into the curves and it will easily smooth it out. So that's how I do it. So I use a combination of this exact Dremel and buffing tip for the edges. That is the only part that I sand on my clay pieces. I do not sand the backs because I've done acetone, and I do not sand the tops. There's no requirement to sand the tops. You can see the difference there. You just want to get rid of that little smudge line from where you've cut out. Easy as that. And what I've done is I've also curved the edges of that because I just like the look of it. So you can also make your shapes even more interesting and more creative by doing that with when you sand. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so I hope I didn't skip over the acetone thing. I'm sure lots of people will have their own opinion on it. This is my personal work process. I'm not saying that you should use it, and I'm also not saying that you shouldn't use it. All I'm saying is that you should be extremely careful and know your product or know about acetone before you start pissing around with it. You know what I mean? Okay, now we're going to move on and sand these ones here. Now, they're a little bit more intricate. You can see there I'm definitely not going to get the buffing tip into those areas. Now, there are special tips that you can get for Dremels and rotary tools that have different edges on them, different size cylinders, things like that. I am too lazy to change out the parts. So what I will do is I will go through and sand what I can sand safely, and then I will use a cotton pad or a cotton tip, and I will use acetone to just smooth out any areas that I couldn't get to with my Dremel. I just can't be bothered switching out to different tips, and also a lot of those tips are really quite harsh and don't do the best job. So yeah, that's how I do it. Works fine. Now you need to do the inside of these shapes as well as the outside. But see how we are using the buffing tip and we are not getting any white marks. What you can see on there is just dust. So that's the thing I love about it. When you do sand with either wet and dry sandpaper or any type of sandpaper like Dremel component thingy-majiggy, you will get scratches because you're literally scratching the surface of the clay. So using the buffing tip is just really good for getting a nice smooth finish, but it doesn't work. It doesn't like take out as much, Oh, and then we're just going to, any components that aren't going to be glued or like that are black like that, using a bit of Renaissance wax just brings them to life a little bit more. So you just quickly wipe it on and then wipe it straight back off. Not using acetone. What am I doing there? Why am I doing that? Oh, okay. I've seen a bit that I've missed. See how I've just folded the cotton pad in half and I just go into the little crevice and just quickly wipe it? That's literally taking away a layer. It's almost like sanding. We do call it liquid sanding in my creative community. So if you are here from the Maker's Narrative, you know that that's liquid sanding we're doing right there. Now I decided, these are the earrings that I kept for myself because I may or may not have effed it up right about now, where I was going to do 2 holes because I thought I had enough space, but she didn't. She didn't have enough space. See there? Oh, no. So I just make it to 1 big hole, which is not ideal because I want to hang a jump ring there for the topper and then a jump ring below it for the little acrylic dangly component. And this is what we ended up with, kind of like an oval hole, which honestly would be totally fine, but it's really close to the edge, and if it was me, I just would not feel comfortable selling that or putting it on my website. That is the type of earring that I would sell as a second because I'm not 100% happy with it. But in this case, I actually really like the earring design, and even though it's got a slight mistake where I've drilled the holes wrong, I'm keeping them. I wore them the other day at school pickup and got like 3 comments of people like, oh my God, I love your earrings. I was like, yes, bitch. Yes, you love the earrings. Here's my website. I'm releasing very soon. But yeah, so I've never added acrylic into any of my designs because I don't know, I don't. But how fun do these look? So these acrylic components have just come from Blackbird and Violet. They do like little packs. I feel like these might have been a sale pack that they had at one stage where you could just buy like a mixed bunch of little components, and that's just, I had a container of them, so I thought I'd try it out, and I'm obsessed. These ones here, I also did a little dangly component on the inside. This time, because I'm hanging the topper upside down to what you normally would do. Normally, with a topper like that, people would hang it the other way or like place it the other way. I decided I wanted to do it this way because I just felt like it worked with the aesthetic of this particular pair. So I hung it off 2 10mm jump rings. Those are matte black jump rings that I get from a wholesale supplier. You can also buy them pretty much from any earring supplier. Be careful of the ones that you get on places like Amazon or AliExpress. I haven't been happy with any of the black jump rings I've got from any of those places, so I like to use my reputable suppliers. Obviously, I've shared that quite a few times, the suppliers that I like to use. But yeah, to get really nice matte black jump rings, you do need a good supplier. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, she's going on a bit, let's be honest. And also, how fun is this? When I drilled the holes, you can't actually see me drilling. So next time when I do the video and I film it, I'll move my camera to the side so you can see me drilling and then probably making a mistake because that's the story of my life. Okay, here we go. I love how these look. I just think the little flower on the inside looks really fun. And I like how they hang. So yeah, I went with that. Now, one of the tips I have for you, another little hack, another little genius hack, is if you've got lots of 3D detailing on the front of your component and you need to drill the hole and you want it to be accurate, you need to turn it over and go through the back. And I don't do it that often, but honestly, it will work every time, because if you try to get your Dremel through the top with all the 3D detailing, it can be really dicey. So yeah, that's one of my little tricks. Go from the back. Now, I've also been wearing those earrings that I just did there with the 2 little oblongs like every day. So I think it's safe to say that maybe only a couple of pairs of these will go on my website. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment below and I will reply to you. Ask any questions you like and I'll try my best to give you an answer. Also, if you're interested in the maker's narrative, click the link below and you can check that out as well. Is it going to be below? I don't know. I'm going to figure that out. Anyway, thanks for watching. Here we are with another video. How cool is this? All right, bye.